and welcome to The Knowledge. Well, you might be wondering just why I am launching The Knowledge here in the Forum in Rome. Well, it's a very good question, but almost 20 years ago I actually launched my psychotherapy career by getting qualified by the European Association of Transactional Analysis and here in Rome. So it seemed appropriate to come back and launch this psychological program, The Knowledge, right here in Rome. But there's another reason as well. Because right here in Rome, in one of the busiest and biggest capitals of Europe, right here in Rome, here in the very center of Rome, we have these archaeological ruins. And it made me think about the fact that what the knowledge is something that addresses our core life script. And very often we have to do a bit of archaeology to reveal those life scripts. And these life scripts are what influence everything in our life. Our work, our success at work, our health and our success with our health, and our families and our relationships and our children and our success, that all come down to this one critical issue of life script. And we have to do, in a sense, what the Romans have done, which is to dig down and uncover our past roots. Because in the roots, in the archaeological basic, the foundations of our personality, like in these ruins, lies our life script. And the reality is that neuroscience and psychology are all coming into a very clear agreement that what goes on in our adult life is actually based largely on decisions and stories we told ourselves very early on in our life. Just at the same time, around about the age of 3, is when the brain has kind of fully developed all its neurological connections. And then it does something very interesting. It starts to reduce its capacity. Now, why would the brain reduce its capacity? But at the age of 3, we're starting to decide on the stories of our lives. We're starting to decide which neural pathways we're going to repeatedly travel. So the famous saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. We create neural motorways in our brain around about the age of 3. And we see this in the way the brain is actually working from the age of 3 onwards, is that we're almost chopping away excess baggage and we're just working with the key areas that we want to do. And what that means is it fits with the idea in psychology that our very early childhood decisions actually map out our future adult life. The trouble is, all of this is pretty much unconscious now. When we're grown up, we don't tend to think about it. And this puts life script right at the center of the dilemma that Freud and psychotherapists since Freud have had, which is the dilemma between the conscious part of ourselves and the unconscious part. And what this means is the holy grail of all personal growth, all development, and in fact all our success, whether that's economic or it's emotional, all our success in life comes down to our ability to understand and work with our unconscious life script. To put it simply, just imagine that you run a story for yourself at the age of 3, and you're very aware of that story. You're becoming very verbal, very cognitive. The prefrontal cortex of the brain is developing links with the other parts of the brain, and the thinking self comes online around about 3. That's pretty much accepted. And at the time, we are probably quite conscious of that story we're telling ourselves. But as we get wired into the stories we tell ourselves, the narrative of our life, and you see children doing this all the time, telling themselves stories, as those narratives get wired in, they become more automatic, habitual. And then it's very easy to understand how those narratives kind of drop into the unconscious of our being. So later on in life we think we're making very rational reasons for everything. But actually we're generally making decisions that fit with the pathways of our life script. And sometimes the key thing here is our situation at the age of 3 in no way resembles our adult situation. And that's when we start to hit problems. problems in relationships or in our work or in our health, problems with our children. Whatever it is that we hit, we're now hitting a forgotten, unconscious, unremembered life script or narrative. And the knowledge is really about this holy grail of all psychotherapy since the time of Freud, which is how can we influence our unconscious? How can we update our information? How can we learn to do the stuff that really does work, even if at the age of 3 we created a narrative that was great at the age of 3 but no longer works in the adult life? And that's what the knowledge is about.